everyone, and welcome to Web Summit. My name is Michelle Castillo. I'm the president of TIWWG, which is an editorial production and media consulting company. I know you heard a little bit about my panelists, but I'll let them introduce their companies. So, Shelly, let's start with you in HubSpot. Tell us a little more.
Yes, so I'm Shelly Purcell. I'm the Senior Director of Marketing for LATAM and Iberia at HubSpot. And HubSpot is an AI-powered customer platform that helps sales, marketing, and support teams connect and grow their businesses better.
And Carolina, tell us a little bit more about what you do.
I left the corporate world 2 years ago, and now I work for Titan as a business advisor, a speaker, and my mission is to prove that we can grow without losing our humanity on the way. So that's what I do.
And Yash, what is MoEngage?
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I'm Yash. I'm the CRO of MoEngage. We're one of the fastest growing customer engagement platforms globally. And we have the good fortune of working with the likes of Domino's, Citibank, T-Mobile, to just help them better engage, retain, and acquire customers at the end of the day. And we also work with a lot of Latin American brands now. And great to be here in one of the fastest growing markets in the world.
So Yash, I'm going to start with you. How has AI really improved personalization for your company?
Yeah, great question. And I think if I look at it from our customer's vantage point, right, like one of the biggest advantages we have is we have access to a vast amount of first-party data, right? And when you combine that with all the latest technologies, that's when the magic happens, right? Because if you think about marketing at its core, it's just about three things, right? Like, who do you want to talk to? What channel would you like to engage them on? And what message do you want to essentially give them, right? And today, with the advent of ML AI, I think we're able to really simplify the whole process of which segments to really target. Like, who do you want to target to help them better convert? Who do you want to target to better retain, right? And once you've identified that, a lot of our customers today use, let's say, Gen AI to entirely automate the process of content creation, right? Like what text, what images, what videos, everything that's going out in the marketing messaging, all of that is being automated, right? And they're also able to identify, okay, which channel helps them convert the most. So the beauty of when all of this comes together is you're truly pushing the boundaries of personalization, right? And just moving away from finally just saying like, hi, first name, that being personalization, right? So I think it's evolving fast, and we're very excited to be at the, midst of the storm in a way.
And Shelly, I know HubSpot has new AI products that hyper-target your prospects. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think what we're starting to see is that we can get a lot more information about what our prospects are doing when they're engaging with our content, when they're engaging with our social media channels, when they're engaging with our website. And when we start to take all of that information, we can do more than just we can start to predict when they have intent, when they want to buy. And as all marketers know, if you could get inside the head of your prospects, you're going to be able to make much better decisions about how to engage with them. And so AI is going to enable us to do that much better. We're going to see the trends of what our prospects are doing, and then start to create communications that are super personalized based on what they're doing, and help them understand how our products or services will be able to help them find the solution that they're looking for. And so I'm really excited about all of the personalization connected to the predictiveness for the intent models that we want to see.
Carolina, in general, how have you noticed that AI has really added to the customer experience in terms of personalization?
I think there are great improvements, but also great challenges on the way. So it's obvious that AI has improved technical capability in a lot of ways. We can know pretty much anything we want in all contexts, but we don't necessarily focus enough on what matters to the customers, to the person on the other way. So sometimes we get lost in so much data, and as we don't use human centricity as a compass, what happens is that we don't always take advantage of all the data that we want towards adding value to the customer. So that's one thing. The other thing is that I think AI is pretty much focused on efficiency. It's really good in efficiency, and we can optimize interactions, we can deliver functionally pretty well, but it still lacks in emotional context. So it cannot predict emotions. It can predict behavior, but not necessarily emotions. So what happens is that sometimes we can use all the AI power to bring a message in the wrong context, in the wrong way, and sometimes even to the wrong person because we don't pay attention to what the person is feeling on that moment.
Now, Yash, Latin America is very mobile first. How has AI personalization really addressed this market, especially considering the mobile situation?
A mobile is almost like you're close. It's an intimate space. And in Latin America, even more, where I was just leaving my mobile over there, and I know, oh my God. And because it's always with us. It's at our dinner tables. It's at our room, you know, it's everywhere. So when you send a message there, when you interact with a customer, with another person from there, you need to have the right context. So everyone here has received an automated call that we didn't want to receive in the wrong moment, or in the middle of the night, or at the wrong social media platform. So this is terrible considering the customer experience in general. So if we don't take into consideration the right moment to do so in the customer journey and map these emotional moments in order to provide the right message at the right context, sometimes we can feel intrusive, manipulative, and not trustworthy as we wanted it to be.
Yash, how has MoEngage really addressed the personalization with AI, especially in the mobile market?
Yeah, I think if you look at most Latin American markets that we operate in, right, a lot of them are mobile first and mobile only in a lot of scenarios. That gives us a lot of scope for driving better retention. Is a lot more easier to understand the customer context on mobile and use all of that data to engage on push, in-apps, or even WhatsApp, right? I think WhatsApp is so popular here, and we see like phenomenal ROI being driven out of a lot of WhatsApp campaigns as well. And I think what mobile also helps you do is you can be really contextual and very timely, right? So what we really help with is how do you bring all of this together? How do you engage the users? Let's say, you're at a Starbucks and, Santander wants to send an offer right then, right? I think that's truly possible with all of these mobile engagement channels, and that's where we see a lot of platform being leveraged right now.
Now, Shelly, what about, how does HubSpot address a lot of these mobile issues? Are you guys looking at WhatsApp and how AI can fit into that?
Yeah, so I think at the end of the day, when we talk about the customer journey, it's becoming more and more fragmented. Maybe I am going to start a conversation with a company that I want to purchase a product from on Instagram, but then that conversation is going to move to WhatsApp, and it's going to end with an email. For that to happen, we need a data point at the center, and that's where a CRM becomes really, really important. And when we have the CRM that is then enabled with AI, it's going to allow all of these interactions to be connected and to really happen seamlessly. And that's going to provide the customer service and experience that we're looking for. And so I think what we'll start to see is we talk about omnichannel quite a lot, but with AI, omnichannel is going to get even more power. That's going to become more important because customers are going to expect that they can have that seamless conversation and engagement with a company across all channels, independent of the time, independent of what they're looking for, but they should expect to have all of that for the customer every time they engage with a company.
Now, what are the challenges your company's facing? What can't AI do at this point?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of challenges. When I talk to customers in Latin America, one of the things that we always have to talk about is AI is only as good as the data that AI learns on. And so the data quality and the data inputs are really, really important to be able to build a really strong AI functionality that can provide that great customer experience that we're all looking for. And so in that sense, I think one, the data enrichment in Latin America is fragmented. Each country has their own databases, their own ways to enrich, and so trying to get that at scale is a challenge that we're still facing. And I think it was going to take a little more time for us to be able to develop that. But absolutely, continuing to train the AI on the data is going to be really, really important to create that great experience.
Now, Carolina, I was just curious, do you think the key to data personalization is going to be data precision?
Yeah, that's a good question because we sort of focus on precision. We want to find the right person to connect with, and that's okay. But if we don't know how to connect with them, then it doesn't work, right? So what we need to work with is to understand the other side better. So we can use AI to listen before we use it to solve something. Otherwise, we're solving the wrong thing. And I think that's a gap because we're so obsessed with speed, optimization, etc. And then we go using all sorts of AI to all sorts of things, but we're not considering the way that we should connect emotionally to these customers. This gap between functional and emotional, for me, is where we can develop a competitive advantage. If we use all the AI systems to connect in the right moment, in the right emotional journey, that's when we build trust. And trust is not something that one interaction is enough. Every time you're renewing trust with your customers. So if we do something right now that it works, and then on the other day it doesn't, it feels terrible. For example, I saw a case recently from a pet delivery service that discovered through data, AI, etc., that a gap when someone stops drastically shopping with them, sometimes it means that their pet just died. And if we continue pushing all sorts of communications and messages, this person is grieving, you know? And that's what I mean when I say emotion and functional working together.
Now, Yash, in your opinion, where does AI need to improve to best help you utilize the personalization tools? What is like the area it really needs to improve?
Yeah, I think the two of them made great points, and I think I get the frustration that she was talking about towards the end, right? And I think for me, the big trend I feel is going to be how do you seamlessly blend in AI with the human intelligence, right? Because all said and done, AI can't truly get the business context, right? Like, which is very, very unique to the business that you're doing possibly, right? So while AI can help you do a lot of experiments faster, how can you, just bring in the human intelligence part of it and, blend in the business context and then experiment, right? Which can then truly make magic happen. I think that's going to be super important. And yeah, like Shelly was saying, a lot of it comes down to data quality, right? Like, otherwise it's going to be like garbage in, garbage out. So, we spend a lot of time today just understanding our customers' data sets because consumers today are constantly, switching platforms, right? One day you're in a store, the other day you're on a website. There's just so much context switching happening. It's really important to focus on how do you bring all of this data together and how do you cleanse it and prepare it in a way where people can actually make something out of it, right? I think these are the two fundamental aspects that I feel will be super critical going forward.
Now, are you concerned about data privacy? How are you addressing those challenges? Not only, LATAM, especially Brazil, the regulations are a little less strict, but you have other countries that you operate in, the US, Europe, that have pretty strict regulations that are getting stricter as lawmakers pay more attention.
Yeah, it's a great question, right? Like there should be no conversation about AI without first thinking about privacy in a way, right? And as a custodian of first-party data, we feel very, very responsible about how our customers are collecting data, how is that data being used. And I think companies are making a lot of progress in terms of just giving that preference to the customers in terms of what data would like to be tracked, right? And because we're a first-party data platform, the first thing for us is, does the user want to be tracked? And what kind of data would like to be tracked? When do they want us to stop tracking, right? So in a way, I feel like a lot of businesses are also moving towards giving that power back to the users, which is phenomenal, right? And I think as an end user, I would be very concerned about which business is tracking what about me, and having that control really helps me decide the fine balance between what's truly personalization and how privacy conscious should one be, right? So I think it's a great sign, and it's great that Brazil and a lot of other countries are actively thinking about privacy laws, which I feel should be accelerated anyway.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us to talk about AI and personalization. There's tons more on AI at the conference, and I hope you guys enjoy the other talks as well. Have a great Web Summit.